in the stone. We call truth in the bone. If you beat, better stand on. Only real one step to the ground. That is that sword in the show. Hot seats up in your toe. We gon' get sick to the bone. Local man.
Hey, you guys, what's going on? It's Stone the Wise Maximoff, and I am your host of the Sword in the Stone podcast. We have finally made it to the end of the season. It is the season finale, and I felt it was best to save the best for last, okay? We are going to be doing an interview with someone who is one of y'all favorites, and we're going to be talking about something that is close and dear to both of our hearts, okay? So, our guest, our season finale guest, is the one and only. You ain't gonna tell them the people who you.
Melanin, Siobhan.
Yes, yes,
Several
yes,
names.
yes. Okay, all right. And what we're gonna be talking about today is ballroom politics exposed, colorism, favoritism, and competition. Okay, and also we're going to be shining a light on Melanin's journey in ballroom and stuff like that. So I hope you guys are ready. All right. Okay. How you feeling, Mel?
I'm good. I guess I have to also introduce myself as Trinidad because I have a new mainstream name.
Okay, yes. So are you so is that your so how you doing that? Is that your mainstream and Kiki name or
I think right now in the transition, Trinidad is my mainstream name, and then Melanin
okay.
is my Kiki.
Okay. All right, perfect. Okay, you guys. So this is going to be really, really cool. And it's going to be really, really great because he's going to be totally transparent about things and stuff like that. So we're going to jump right into it, okay? I'll answer the questions as well, but it's more about him. So we're going to keep it more about him, all right? All right, Mel. So when did you first start walking balls and what are your categories?
I first started walking 2024, in February. February, my debut was the Mother Earth is Burning Ball. The fun story is my first practice was January of 24. You just brought me to, um, I think it was the Felicities were having a session, and I went to that
It
with you.
actually was it? Yeah, because you had traveled in December.
I had
Yep,
traveled,
yep.
and then I had came back January, and I was in like jeans, and we just went by, and it was my first and only session. And then you were like, "I think you're ready to walk this ball in February." I was nervous, and yeah, Mother Earth is Burning was my debut, and I walked that night, Body and Sex Art.
Yes, you did. Yes. And his first house is the House of Renaissance, and that's where he still is, the Kiki House. He is the overall prince. So I
It's
am
my only Kiki house I've ever
oh,
been
that's right. And he's here to stay, darling. Okay.
in.
So like I said, this is more about him, but I will bounce back and forth. So I started walking balls. Ooh, shit. I started walking balls in 2004. A lot of girls don't know my history because I come from the era where they just started doing DVDs. Before that it was VHS. And my first categories that I walked was Butch Queen Up and Drag's Realness. Um
I think you have to cut to a picture of this when you do this.
okay,
When you cut this, I think
even though this is about him,
I want to see
we
it.
could cut to a picture of La Portia. My first name was Aujane, and it was to pay homage to Aujane Milan. And then a lot of the girls was like, "Girl, you gonna do Aujane?" But yeah, so it was Witch Queen Up in Drag's Realness, and it was Vogue Femme. And my first house that I was in was Jesus. I was an Infinity. I was an Infinity. I've been in many houses. Okay, so yeah, about 2004 was my first house. But like I said, that's just a little bit about me. Okay. So Mel, what does winning really mean to you when it comes to ballroom?
I'm a competitive person. I'm like, I was raised in sports, so competition for me, the goal is always to win.
Mm-hmm.
When I came in the ballroom, I think you and even my current house father tried to instill in me it's about the moment. It's not always about winning, and I struggle with that.
Can you let them know what house you're currently in and what other house you was in?
I'm currently in Alpha Omega.
Come on, Alpha.
My house father is the Caesar. I started ballroom mainstream as a Mugler.
Okay, so since this is more about you, can you let the people know how monumental it was for you to get into the House of Miyake Mugler just because of what you've heard about the vetting process and stuff like that?
Ugh.
I was very proud of him when he made Mugler. Like it was bitch. It was like Grammy award. I felt like I still feel like Matthew Knowles, but yes, please let the people know.
Um, yeah. So when I started walking in February of 24, and then
You walked
in
your first mainstream ball that year as well.
yeah, in June of 24, I walked a
May.
Kiki. No, it was June. I walked a Kiki ball again. Dash LaBeija, and I made a video of it and posted it, and Dash reposted it, and I believe because Dash is known by Cameo. Cameo saw the video, and Cameo wanted reached out to me and wanted to know all about me, all of the things. That was June of 24, and then Cameo started coaching me and mentoring me, and he said, "Do you want to be a Mugler?" And I was like, "I don't know what a Mugler is. I just got into this and all the things." And at the same time, their TV show,
House on
uh,
Fire.
House on Fire, came out, and so I was watching it, trying to catch up and all the things. And so, August of 24, Cameo had me fly out to Chicago, um, to go through the onboarding process. I'm forgetting the actual word, but the onboarding process. And I get there. I don't know nothing. I'm like, Cameo prepped me of what I'm going to do, but that's all I got. I don't know these people. And I see I get in there, and there's this, first of all, I'm in Cameo's hotel room, and then he comes to get me with my newest house brother that I just meet. He come to get us, we walk over, and he goes, "Okay, you're gonna walk for these people." And I'm like I'm walking right now. He's like, "Yeah, we gotta walk right now." And that's I'm mentally getting prepared. And I walk in, and it's a room full of people. Like maybe probably 35, 40 people. And I live here in Denver. There's not many black people.
There isn't.
This room is full of black people, and I immediately feel the love, like the chanting and all of the things. But I'm still competing. So I'm competing, and there's this woman that sits there, stone cold face. And I'm like, she's not even budging. I'm pulling out my best things. I'm laying on the table, walking sex, and she's not even budging. She just sit there, and I make it through, and I'm grateful for it, all of the things. And then we walk the ball the next day as a Mugler, and the same woman comes in and she goes, "I think I want to walk," and starts changing last minute. And then I'm texting one of my Renaissance friends, who's like, "Tell Vanessa I love her." And I'm like, "Who is Vanessa?" And they're like, "This person, this person." Come to find out, the person that was judging me is Vanessa, like the female
The
figure
the
sex
the
sign.
the Vanessa Frost.
And
Shout out to Vanessa.
I'm like, who is this lady? And I had to go do my homework. And now I always look back of like, I didn't even pull out my best game for Vanessa. I was changing right next to her, all of these things, and I was acting up. Long story short, fast forward, I'm an Alpha Omega today, and Vanessa also is my overall mother of Alpha Omega. So I get to see her more often and get mentored by her more often.
Okay. So back to the question. So what does winning really mean for you, especially aligned with ballroom?
Yeah, I just every time I walk, my goal is to win. Um, the moment is great and all of the things, but for me, winning is very very important. And I don't do anything if I don't think I have a chance to win.
Hmm. So for me, um, winning. Well, so I am a founder of a Kiki House, and when I was growing up in ballroom back in Boston, that's why a lot of girls don't know my history because Kool Aid, the icon Kool Aid, Selvin, one of the best chances to ever hit a microphone in ballroom. Shout out to Selvin. Used to come to Boston and used to give the girls um, our life, excuse me. And back then, when we was in ballroom in the early 2000s, winning really wasn't that important for us. We was taught to making our name was very important. I remember when I went to Esquilitas one time. Esquilitas is somewhere where that all so many legendary moments have happened at Esco. Shout out to Esquilitas. And the icon Christina Tsunami Richards, she told us, she said, honey, she said, Miss Thing, winning is not everything, Miss Thing. It's about what the crowd feels. It's about the crowd getting you up. Because a lot of the times in ballroom, and we're going to get more into the politics throughout the conversation, a lot of people become very discouraged if they don't get the win. But I always tell my kids, and Mel as the prince of our house, we try to instill in the kids that the moment is what it's really about. The win is the icing, the cherry on top of the cake, but the moment that you make on the floor is what really is important. So winning means a lot to me, but for me, it's the
It's the
moment that's
moment.
created because moments go down in history.
Yeah,
So
I think I'm a baby in ballroom, but that's what I'm learning, and I need to do better at is the moment piece. I winning is very important to me, bringing home the trophy, but I am trying to learn the moment is important.
Well, it wouldn't be the sword in the stone if I didn't make it hot. And I want the girls to know that this is entertainment purposes only and there's no shade. But this is the season finale. And I'm going to definitely make it hot. Can you talk about the moment in your ballroom career where you almost wanted to step away from ballroom?
You're messy.
You don't. I'm not being messy. You don't have to get into details, but I. These are things that people need to know because
You're
what you see in front of you is a journey, and I'm telling you, we would not be here today if I did not just be a father, but be a best friend to him and let him know the importance of continuing to strive. Can you talk about that?
Twice. I've almost wanted to step away twice. The first one, the one that you're alluding to, yeah, I was new. I was really new into ballroom, and the person who I really who I saw walking my categories, and I would give credit that kind of inspired me to come into ballroom. I had my chance to walk against them, and I found out that that person was on the panel and then came off of the panel to walk against me, and I found out being a baby in ballroom that that was not okay. And then realized that this person had a panel full of their house sisters, and they all just voted for them. So I didn't get a fair shot, even though I think I did a really good job, and probably, in my opinion, did better than them. And the video can speak for itself in that moment. And I feel like I felt like I did all that I was supposed to do, and it still didn't work out to my favor. And that's when I had to learn about the politics in ballroom
Yes.
that we're gonna talk about. And that and I had to learn it the hard way. And so I wanted to stop then
Okay.
because I'm again, I'm a competitor at heart, and I know if you put your best foot forward and you're better than the next person, that you should win. And what I'm learning in ballroom is that's not true. That politics plays a big role. It depends on who you know, who knows your name, what house you belong to, who pissed off who earlier on in the night. All of the things come into play. So I learned that the hard way. But in that moment, I wanted to walk away. The second time I almost wanted to walk away was my diagnosis. Which I don't know. We'll talk about more maybe
Well,
later.
no, you could talk about it now because I didn't know how I was gonna bring it up.
Um, I May. It's been a year now. March actually of 25. I was diagnosed with kidney disease, kidney failure, and that was what, a full year into my ballroom career.
Mhm.
And if I would say probably the height of my ballroom career, I was a Mugler for
And you got
what, about 4 months.
and you got and you won nominations.
My OTY was literally my second OTY of the year was I think April. So right after my diagnosis. And I I I just was trying really hard to maintain. And then left Mugler's because I just couldn't do it anymore. I also thought I was gonna leave ballroom, right? My cameo left Mugler. I had no inspiration to stay there. My mentor was gone. Um, and I didn't know if I was ever walking again. I didn't feel confident to walk again. So I was debating on leaving.
Mhm.
Met Caesar, and he spoke life back into me, and all of the things, and I'm an alpha now. But yeah, that was my second time almost walking
Okay.
away.
So that just goes to let you know, y'all, don't let anything stop you. His story has been very inspiring. He actually, for me personally, I've wanted to walk away from this scene many of times, but he continues to pour into me on why I needed to stay and what my presence does for the community. So I've been there along with him, and we're still here. Okay, what keeps you coming back to ballroom despite recent challenges you have encountered? Ooh, you see how that just went right into the next? That was fab.
Community.
Mm.
I remember. So I started when I started ballroom. I had quickly had an exposure to Twiggy
Love
Garcon,
Twiggy. Love Twiggy.
and they spoke at an event, and I talked to them about um, how do I manage the fact that I'm here for the competition factor, and everybody wants to make this about family and community.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward into, like, this is my second year, and the most important thing for me in ballroom is community, and realizing that I don't have um, a strong black community here in Denver,
Mm-hmm.
and so I definitely utilize ballroom to cultivate that, especially outside of Denver.
Okay. Love that. Love that answer. For me, um, what keeps me coming back, I would have to say it would have to be people like my best friend. He is very optimistic about things. There have been many conversations where I've said I'm done. And I'm at the space in ballroom where I want to be known for more the philanthropy part of Ballroom. I want to create a legacy, and that's what we are doing with the House of Renaissance. Renaissance represents the rebirth, and um, the challenges that I've encountered is that people don't respect my history if they don't know the history. And people don't respect the fact that I came in and I got through doors that people thought they should have gotten through. And they felt like I was undeserving. But what I've learned is that what is meant for me is for me, and my purpose is meant, whatever purpose is created for me to walk in, that is my purpose to walk in, nobody else's. And what my best friend on the couch pretty much reminded me is like, nobody's going to do it like you do it. Nobody is going to show up like you show up. And that's going to create an obvious void within, especially our community in Denver. It's very big, but it's very small when it comes to ballroom to a certain degree. There's a lot of new emerging talent out there, but one thing that I pride myself on, and he could say yay or nay, I'm really, really good at finding good talent and pouring into the talent and just having an eye for, greatness, I would say. I would really I can brag on that. So that it's the community, you know, just to sum it up, that keeps me coming back.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't answered the question first. Okay. Are we celebrating authenticity or reinforcing standards? Ooh. Um, it depends. It really does depends. I believe that at a whole, at large, ballroom is, but then when you deal with these different judges and stuff like that on a panel, I feel like you do have your judges that are more into the authenticity, and then you have like your icons and your pioneers that are very big on reinforcing standards, reinforcing, bringing the category right and stuff like that. I will say that here in Denver, um I think that where we lack is we're not reinforcing the standard, especially when it for real. And you
Agree.
could chime in. I think that we don't, and I feel like the fact that we're not reinforcing standards, it sets the kids up for failure,
Mm.
because when they go to other states and they're judged by more well versed and more knowledgeable people, the people are like, no, baby, this is not even it. You haven't even scratched the surface. You need to bring it back to the drawing board. So I
Mm.
don't know. I think it's a mixture of the two. What would you say? Are we celebrating authenticity or reinforcing standards?
I went somewhere completely different with this question. I
Okay.
went as far as categories like
Mm,
realness,
mm, mm.
which is not my category, and
Speak on it.
some may say I need to stay in my lane and mind my business.
But
But
speak on it.
I think that we reinforce beauty standards.
Okay.
I think we celebrate. I mean, the whole category is aesthetics purposes, right?
Yes.
And I think we reinforce beauty standards. I think we and realness in of itself is a standard that we are saying you have to be X, Y, and Z to be passable. You have to be X, Y, and Z to be real, which takes away from the authenticity piece of it.
Absolutely.
So I would say, in that sense, no.
Okay, so for you all out there, because we are gonna have viewers that are not familiar with ballroom.
Yeah.
So realness just means if you're like trans and you look like, you know, your everyday woman or a cisgender woman and stuff like that for females. And for males, you have trans men, they have to look like actual men. And then for the gays, we call them the butch queens. They have to look like they're
Straight.
not homosexual.
Yeah.
And what I will say is I think that the female figures get the bad end of the stick because everybody thinks that from what I've seen with realness, a lot of the girls that are more video vixen like or video vixen s, those girls always seem to have the better chance if they're going against somebody that may look like how my grandmother did back in the day and stuff like that. I think a lot of women come in different shapes and forms and different, and every woman is not going to be able to be a size 2. There are women that are size 15s and size 20s, and I think that, to your point, I agree with you. I do agree with you on that. I think it's more about beauty,
Yeah,
and
there's
that's
beauty standards.
yeah, it's definitely. I agree. I wholeheartedly. I agree.
Face is a beauty standard. Sex siren.
But
Um,
with face though, I think that you do need to look. Face is a category where you do need to give model.
right. We're reinforcing a standard.
Okay, yeah, yeah, definitely. It needs to be reinforced because everybody don't
Because
got face, girl,
right, and I think it's that thing you said earlier.
and we don't walk face. But what I'm saying is, I ain't got to walk face to know if somebody got face, boo.
Yeah.
And here in Denver, everybody think they got face, girl.
It's
And
this category that most people come out for on our Turn It Up Thursdays,
yes,
which we should give a plug for.
oh yes, we definitely yes, y'all. Make sure you guys, if you are in the Denver area, that you check out the Colorado's Ballroom event of the year of 2025. Juicy Renaissance Misdemeanor presents Turn It Up Thursdays every last Thursday at the biggest gay club in Colorado, Trax Denver. Shout out to Juicy.
Period.
Shout out to our overall mother.
Come out and walk face.
Come out and walk face, girl.
Everybody
Okay.
else is doing it.
Now, this is where it's going to get a little deep. How would you define colorism within ballroom?
Again, messy. Some people believe it or not.
Oh my God, what's going on? Hold on, y'all. Is somebody calling me? Hold on, y'all. Technical difficulties. Hold on. Okay, we should be back. Hold on. Okay.
We're back.
Sorry, y'all. Okay.
Colorism in ballroom. I think it's the same as it is outside of ballroom, just
I agree.
perpetuated and probably magnified. Ballroom is created for people of color, black and
Yes.
brown people, right? Sometimes non-black and brown people go into it, but it is created for them by them. But with inside of ballroom, I think, my opinion, that there is preferred treatment
Mm.
to people of lighter skin. They're deemed to be prettier, more beautiful, stuff like that. So, especially in these aesthetic categories, in my short time that I've been here, have seen evidence where they are picked over dark skinned people.
Okay. Okay. I have seen a lot of colorism in ballroom. But to be honest with you, I've seen more of it now than back in the day.
Mm.
Back in the day, the chocolate girls were always celebrated more and stuff like that. And the only thing that I don't like about ballroom, I feel like they put more of a pressure on the chocolate girls.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I think for some reason there's such an ignorant, ooh, I can't believe she looks the way she looks. And I feel like, why? Is that because she's chocolate?
Mm.
Like,
What do you think it is that led, when you're saying back in the day, it used to be chocolate girls used to be killing it and they had the even chance, and now colorism is playing a role. What do you think has changed?
that was really good.
Because beauty standards, I don't think, has gotten worse. I think that they were trying to get better at it and being more inclusive and stuff like that. But you're saying that you're seeing it get worse in ballroom.
Well, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that it's gotten worse, but I will say that I think it's gotten a little better.
Okay.
But I'm saying it is worse compared to back in the day. One of my favorite chocolate girls that I feel like is shaking up the scene, and she's bringing the essence of the chocolate girls have been here forever is Giselle.
Oh yeah,
Giselle
for
is
sure.
like, when I tell y'all just Miss Giselle Harvey, she is the epitome. She is the epitome. She brings it like Moldavia. She brings it like Cheyenne Allure. I mean, I know the chocolate girls, just from watching old ballroom tapes and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that I think that, in my opinion, I feel like they go up more for the light skinned girls because they correlate more to, there's more white celebrated dolls like Barbie and stuff like that. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Because
That's
the
what I
people
believe.
on the panel has also grown up the same way we have. They've grown up seeing what beauty is,
Mm-hmm.
and the demonstration of beauty has been lighter skin,
Yes.
right? Straighter hair. And
Yes.
you can even see it in ballroom. Our black people, they rarely come out rocking a fro,
Right.
right? Or kinky twists and stuff like that. It's more often than not straight wigs.
Yes. And the thing about it is, what I liked about like growing up watching Paris is Burning and stuff like that, a lot of those women were emulating wanting to look like Felicia Rashad as Claire Huxtable,
Right.
or the late Diane Carroll as Dominique Devereaux.
But when those icons were iconing, they were doing it trying to keep up with the white standard. No?
No, yeah, yeah.
And so now when our dolls are emulating them, we're still following the white beauty standard.
Right.
If I'm on a panel and it's fair, I try my best to be fair, but there's a chocolate dark skinned girl and a not chocolate dark skinned girl or skin colored female, and everybody's equal, I'm picking the dark skinned girl because I know what she had to go through to be here.
Mm.
I know how hard it is for her to get voted for, so I'm choosing her.
I am and that's very intertwined with the politics, because I have a lot of people that I know that will always pick the brown girl.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just because of the foundation of ballroom, and that's just more so. And
That's
I
what it's
hate I
for.
hate to tell y'all, and we do have our opener for the next episode is going to be a femme queen, and I won't let y'all know who it is, but it's going to be a hot episode. But I always go up for the chocolate person. And it's more so because they're the person that I relate more to in terms of the strides that had to be made to get to where they are.
Yeah.
And yeah, but I definitely just think that back in the day we were focusing more on the foundation of who created ballroom,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the brown and yellow girls. And I'm talking more about like the girls that look more Latino, or they look more, because a lot of people think that porcelain looks better light. And I think if it's porcelain, regardless
Mm-hmm.
if it's light or dark.
Mm-hmm.
That's just me. But
I'm gonna mess this up. There's
no,
this
go ahead.
Berlinciaga. She came here.
Oh yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. She's over. She went viral for sitting at the ball. Dark skinned girl. She came in the Cowboy Carter outfit.
Yeah,
She is sitting.
obsessed.
She is sitting.
She was one of we were at Trinidadian Carnival and we ran into each other or we walked by each other.
Oh, she's a Trini.
She's not. She's Barbados or she's one from one of the other islands, Saint Lucia or something like
Okay.
that. But she came to the carnival, and ever since she came here, I've been obsessed with her. She she exudes porcelain.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
she is dark skinned and so gorgeous and beautiful.
Flawless.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with her.
Yeah, but that's how I define it. I just feel like the light skinned girls always get it over the. But let me ask you something. How has that affected you in your battles?
I tried to ignore it. I tried to compartmentalize it, knowing this about ballroom, but separately from my battles, I try to always go in thinking I have the exact same advantages as anyone that I'm battling.
Mm,
And more often than not, I chalk it up to I lost because I didn't have my best A game on.
mm.
I tried to not let that be to get in my head and be my reason.
But do you feel like there's ever been any obvious moments during your battles that you just knew it was because okay, you don't have to say the battle, but have you ever like did you just know in your head or even after looking back at the clip, you're like, girl,
One of my battles, yes, Kiki battle. But I think I see it more often in mainstream and not necessarily my battle. There was a body category most recently. Homeboy won, and he's well known. It's the politics I was talking about, right? He is well known. He's been in the house for a minute. He's light skinned, and homeboy that lost was just it was a body category. I said ripped, massive. I thought was winning hands down, chocolate guy. And when they competed and he lost, I was like, that don't make no sense to
mm,
me. But
right, okay,
the politics played a role.
okay. So the next question rolls right in from the other one. When did you first notice colorism or bias in the scene?
It was that my first year. I think within the first 6 months is when I recognized it. And it shocking to me again and took me by surprise. But 6 months into it is
Um, for me, I really didn't notice it until I got older. I really didn't. And I've noticed it. I've noticed when I first noticed it was watching Face. Face is one of those categories where you definitely can notice the colorism
when I
and the
know.
biasness. I
Mhm.
must say. Um, and the colorism has always been a big thing, but the biasness usually comes from the girl that is less surged versus the girl that's most surged. I
Mm.
think that the girls
You have
that
to explain what surge is for the non.
surge is like the girls that go underneath the knife. They get their nose done, their Botox, they get their facial films
Surge
and
is
stuff
short
like
for
that.
surgery.
One of my favorite all-time beauties is Tanae Pendavis Garcon. She is Trinidadian, and Tanae hasn't had any face work, and none. She hasn't had any face work, and Tanae has always been a girl that um just faces sitting, and Tanae is more so on the fair skin side,
Hmm.
but Tanae is definitely one of the girls that didn't go underneath the knife. Shout
Mm.
out to Laomi. Laomi is a no sill, no surge type of girl, and
Wait, what was the first word you said?
no sill, no surge,
What's
no
no?
silicone, no surgery.
Oh,
So
okay.
I noticed the bias that a lot of girls that aren't surge, they get overlooked a lot because these girls look more. And what I don't like is
Ooh.
like if the face category is calling who looks more like a Barbie doll, okay. But if we're talking about face structure and stuff like that, because a lot of because this is my opinion, a lot of
Wait,
the face
but
girls are not real. They're
yeah.
not. A lot of these face girls, um, James West, the overall founding father, James West, was making a point because the ball that Vanessa and them when they walked on Perfect Tens,
Hmm.
there was a lot of stigma around that category because a lot of those girls, they're beautiful, but they're not real.
Mm.
A lot of the girls, they get their surge based off of face, but then they gotta realize, like, I think that sometimes when the face is too over surged,
Hmm.
I think that that's clockable. I
Mm.
think that's clockable. When I think about realness, I wanna picture myself in real situations where I may see you and I'm like, yes,
Mm.
she's over.
Hmm.
Not, oh girl, is she? You know what I mean? So I would say my first stem with it was watching, like, I don't know which face category it was. I think it was a big face category back during the awards ball a couple of years back when Kelly walked, Cat Miss Rahi walked. But that's when I really noticed, like, okay, it's about who got more better surge and also the light skinned girls. Because I feel like they deem light to be more prettier. So that was my first stint. Okay, I'll answer this first. Does lighter skin or certain looks get more recognition? Absolutely. 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 I believe that light skin gets more recognition than the dark skinned girls. And I feel like what is so fucked up, they expect more out of the dark skinned girls, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I do believe that light skin gets more recognition. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the colorism that we were talking about. And the other half of that question was certain looks. Yeah, it's a thing that you talk about, surge versus non, and who gets more preferential treatment.
Absolutely. Okay, on to the next question. Does politics influence who wins categories?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. It who you know plays a big role. I remember I walked against one of my current housemates when I wasn't,
When you went to the
and
West Coast function.
I was eating them up. If you ask me, I was eating them up. I looked over that day. We were walking sex, and I truly believe I lost that battle because
Well, it was said to you.
yes, that person's known. That person is very well known in the house they are in. And I was new coming up, and so I think they got votes over me because of that. But I was over. So yeah, ballroom's not, and that's what I'm learning. It's not about are you better than the next person. There's a lot of behind the scenes politics that you have to play. Um, my gay mother is teaching me that I have to show up. She's also in ballroom. Queen
Shout out to Queen
Stacks.
Stacks, the
She
legend.
she double legend. She walks every ball that she goes to. She walks both or all three of her categories. She said, if I'm going, I might as well. And she said, even if I'm not winning, I'm getting my name out there. And if I'm getting my name out there, it adds to the politics. And people get familiar with you. So she is teaching me to walk every chance I get and never go to a ball and only walk one of my categories. If I can control it, walk both of my
Word. I definitely believe politics influence, and it happens a lot here in Denver.
categories.
I'm just gonna rip the band-aid off. I don't want nobody to feel no kind of way. We are moving forward, but I gotta keep it real. Um, you know, for me, when I came into the scene, I thought it was very important to be a part of a house well known here. But then I've learned that it is more of a longer journey to get to the top when you are a 007 or you're not affiliated with a popular house. I definitely will say that we've seen it happen endless times here, him and I, within our own community. So it's definitely big, but sometimes it's just too damn obvious,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Sometimes it's too obvious, and I actually believe that the politics is what is keeping the new talent away from um, from ballroom. I believe people don't want to walk if they know that the piano is going to automatically pick someone that they know.
Yeah.
And I think that's what doesn't make ballroom fun. Back in the day, when somebody new hit the scene, that got the girls up. Like, who is this new person? People get tired of the same girls winning. And if the same girl is winning and they've put the work in, then great. But if you know that girl did not put the work in, that's when it's like bullshit. And that's what just happened with this realness with a twist battle against this West and Prince Gorgeous Gucci. If you watch the clip, the boy was eating Prince up. And Prince got every vote.
Wow.
Prince got every vote. The boy didn't get not one vote. And and what I don't like is I blame the politics on people that judge. A lot of judges really don't want to judge. I believe a lot of judges just want the clout and that feel of seniority of being on the panel. And I rather a judge that really wants to judge on the panel than a judge that's just like, girl, I'm just here.
Yeah.
So I definitely believe politics, and absolutely, absolutely.
I have two parts. One, I want to say that I think you have mastered the politic game that we have here. I think you recognize the unfair treatment in Ballroom when you first came in, and you decided to not only find your own house, but you've established a very well known house, and you've recruited some big hitters in it.
Thank you.
And so I think that's the ultimate political game. You decided to create your own lane, and master it, and I think that's very commendable. My second thing is judging. Like you mentioned, some people don't want to judge all the things. How do you manage sitting on a panel and you see people getting unfairly treatment? So, like, for example, I'm on the panel, someone from my house is walking, and you know they're gonna not get voted for just because they come with this house name. Am I obligated to vote for them because they're my people and I have to even out the score? Or do I vote for the person that I think should win, regardless,
Okay.
always?
So for me personally, and he's a little different than I am. A lot of the times he does vote for our house members.
Hmm.
I'm not like that. If I feel like my house member did not deserve to win, but it's levels. If they didn't deserve to win by a landslide, I'm not gonna pick them.
Hmm.
If it was really close and neck to neck, I probably will pick my house member. But for me, the way I manage it is I talk about the moment.
The
I talk about the
moment.
moment while I'm on the panel. I will be very honest and be like, girl, she, you know, sometimes you don't have to state the obvious. I think what's understood doesn't need to be explained. There have been many, many. There was just a function where my kids was saying they went to that function at Charlie's and they was like, girl, there was no way. And I think
Did we
that
have someone on the panel that time?
we didn't have anyone on the
Mm.
panel. And that's something that me and you used to talk about, oh, should we walk this function because there's none of us on the panel?
Hmm.
And I had to get out of that train of thought of we need somebody on the panel just in case. A lot of the times the audience can see the obvious bullshit. And that creates a cloud over those people's heads.
A moment.
That
Over
yeah,
the win.
oh right, because there's a lot of times where we're like, okay, girl, no shade. You know damn well that person should not have won. That person, those people that are not judging fairly, they cause a stigma that they have to deal with.
Mm.
I am a very fair judge. I am one of those judges that sometimes I can't even contain myself if the person is really doing good. Either they be in my house or either they're not in my house. But I feel like that's where people try to cause fear of people not walking. And for me, and I've instilled this in y'all, no, we're gonna walk because we're gonna create moments. Y'all don't have to give us the win, but we're gonna create. Sometimes I'd rather y'all have the moment than the
Then
win.
the win. Yeah,
Because
that's the thing that
sometimes,
I'm learning.
because I'm gonna be real, sometimes these girls have to create a space so they can get wins. Some spaces are created just so you can have a win.
Yeah.
But my whole thing is, you may have got the win, but you may not have the moment. And then the thing about it is, a lot of the times when you go to balls out of state, people will remember a bitch that made the moment versus remembering the bitch that got the win.
That's true.
There's a lot of legends where it's like, girl, what you? They're not known for their wins. They're known for their moments.
Yeah.
A lot of people are legendary because I know for me, back when I was coming up, I created very fab moments in Boston. That's why people will say, oh, Legendary Stone, because I was the voice for the city. I was, I always tell the girls, and Deshaun knows this. Deshaun, the icon, Basquiat, bitch, I'm the one that came up with bitch, you know who, the EVISU. I am the one that came up with that chant when we was on our way to Six Flags in New Jersey. I one thing about me, you could talk about a win, you could talk about a loss, but you can't talk about my moments, bitch. I have moments, and there's a lot of girls that have moments. So for me, I just think that you kind of got to go in it with the notion of knowing these girls are not going to be fair. They're just not going to be.
Yeah.
And you
That's
have to also pick and choose what environment you choose to be in that's worth your time.
that's
You know that
yeah.
a lot of these events were like, girl, it ain't even worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moment over win.
Moment over win.
I'll say that battle I was talking about out west, my house father at the time said that he was supposed to be on the panel, but there was some argument that they had, and he then ended up not being on the panel, and I lost by one vote. And I think about it all the time that
Oh,
had he
right.
been on the panel, I
Mm-hmm.
would have won.
Yep.
So that's why I think it's important, but also I'm not gonna lie, I created a moment. I didn't win, and I did create a moment. So your point is valid.
Yep, you definitely did. All right. Number 9. How do you protect your confidence in these competitive spaces?
Hard. This is a hard question for me. Going through where I'm at right now and going through my medical journey right now and walking a physique category, two of them, I would say. Physique plays a
Yep.
role in sex science. Some people say it doesn't, but two of them that are physique based is very hard for me.
Mm.
My body fluctuates so much. My ability to go to the gym is not what it was
Right.
when prior to my diagnosis. Some mornings I wake up and I just cannot
Can't
go.
go. Hmm.
I text you some mornings and I'm
Yep.
like,
Yep.
"Hey, I can't do our plans." Um, and that has been really hard because my for me it used to be gym 7 days a week.
Yep. It was.
And so to maintain my body to the level that I had it before has been very challenging. And it's been hard to look at pictures of the past or videos of the past and maintain my confidence that I can still do it currently today or in the future. So I don't know. I'm struggling with that currently. Working with my therapist for that, and trying to lean on community for sure.
Okay. I like that. Yeah. Community will definitely help. Um. So for me, I've had a bad stint with this community, and in my opinion, I feel like they have tried so many ways to isolate me. There was a moment at the ball that a house father here threw, and he did not call me out for legend statements and stars. And that's pretty much where you give a shout out to the people that are recognized in the community. And for me, that was one of the pivotal moments where my confidence was really not protected. Mel was there. And for me, what it definitely was a coup for them to get me off my shit. And it did. It did. I believe it affected um, one of the categories that I walk now was commentator versus commentator. And I think I'm exemplary. I really do. I think that I do a really good job. And I was with Mel the night before with his gay mother, and baby, my chance was just coming out. But when that person did not recognize me, shit was not coming out right. Shit was all over the place, and everybody knew like, okay, that really ruffled me,
Hmm.
and I gave that person power. And until this day, I still will not fuck with said person because for me, it's like, regardless of how you feel about a person, you cannot not recognize what they have done.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. And it was crazy, and this was why I walked away from my mainstream house, because my mainstream founder was telling me that I need to let it go, and it was something that I could not let go because I've done the work. I've done the work. And one thing about me, when people are having functions, I repost, I promote, I am for community. But when somebody that is supposed to be a leader is not representing that, in that moment, I'm not going to people shouldn't expect me to keep the same standard. And I felt like a lot of people did not speak up for me. And that is why I walked away from mainstream, because I feel like in Kiki, I have solidified myself with the community and the community at large. Not just the community, but the city of Denver. Everywhere I go, people know who Renaissance is. And, so for me, I think the best way to protect it is to always confidently keep your head held up high and just keep moving forward, and always being present. Always being present. I've learned that I make people more uncomfortable being present than I do being absent. I feel like being absent makes people feel like that they won, but being present makes them feel like, oh shit, whatever we tried to do, it didn't work. This person is still here. I think that that's the best thing to do, to stay present. That's how you protect stay present and know what you're there to do.
You know what? Something helps me. I have a friend that she texts me and reminds me often that my existence makes people so uncomfortable.
Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
And this might be very self-centered of me, but that makes me very happy. That boosts my confidence a lot. Like, just me existing bothers you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She texts me and reminds me often that my existence is resistance. And I
shout out to that friend.
Try very hard to walk in that often. But yeah, the fact that me just existing bothers you, that boosts my ego a lot.
And I love that. And I've had to learn to do that. I've had to learn to do that because we know some behind the scenes shit, and that whole behind the scenes shit, that's all about my existence. That has nothing to do with me and stuff like that. I tell Mel all the time. And this is the thing. Him coming into it and him knowing how his friend could be, it gives pause, like maybe they are right. But after seeing it for himself, it's like, no. This is not even deeper with him. This is deeper with you. You wanna see, my problem is with Ballroom. Ballroom has forgot that there's a space for everybody to exist. They only want their girlfriends to exist or their favorite person to exist. Everybody needs to exist, even people you don't like, even people that you don't go up for. Because if we only have certain people existing, then we're not going to be able to expand community. So for me, I've learned more than ever. It's even with our house. Even in our house, we have been in heated chats, and people have tried to water down. Oh, well, their house has been here longer, and this, that, and the third. I use the same thing that I used with Little Kim and Nicki Minaj when Little Kim was given all that fever. It's not about you being the pioneer and stuff like that. It's about the legacy, and it's about continuing something. You know what I mean? If it was up to a lot of these girls, we would be stuck in the past. But the past is created to set a space for a future. And that's just what I believe. So I like that.
Can I challenge you
Yes.
then?
Yes.
If it's not about the past, then can you make your argument, and we go all back the way to, I think, question 2, about standards versus authenticity? Isn't maintaining the standard holding on to the past?
Absolutely. 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 But see, this is the thing, and I can talk about only my city. My city has never known what the right standard is. And when you have not been a part of real Ballroom and what Ballroom was founded on, you cannot try to set that state. You cannot do that unless you created it. You can say that that's the standard. But if you are joining a part of something, you cannot say that's the standard. You cannot remake the standard. You cannot re-image the standard. Not for a whole community. You cannot re-image a standard and forget about the standards that came before. And what my issue has been with these girls is watching Ballroom on Legendary and watching House on, not even House on Fire, watching, I would say Legendary. I believe that a lot of standards in Ballroom in this city has been created off of that show. These standards have
Or
not
Pose.
been. Oh, no, I won't say Pose because Pose showed the standard.
Okay.
Pose was very, very, because what I like about Pose versus Legendary, Pose actually had Ballroom pioneers and icons
In
a
it.
part of the creation of Pose. Legendary didn't.
I've never seen either.
Legendary. Oh, Pose took it back to the days of Paris is Burning,
Okay.
Mark Ballroom, to the days of Pepper LaBeija. Oh my God, not today, Pendarvis. I forget the Pendarvis lady. God forgive me. But Pose really took it back to the Paris is Burning days. Absolutely. Legendary, no. Legendary was more commercial.
Okay.
Legendary was more commercial. Pose wasn't.
What I'm learning about Ballroom is Ballroom thrives on knowing the history.
Yes.
Ballroom is huge on knowing the pioneers of Ballroom. People of your experience always talk about the history and who came before us and where X, Y, and Z came from. But then there's nowhere you can go. I remember when I just started, and I was texting back and forth with Cameo, and I was like, "Where can I find these people?" He would like send me something and say, "Oh, you remind me of so and so," or "Do this like so and so," and I'm like, "Who are these people?
Right.
Where can I find these people?" And you can't.
You can't.
There's no like glossary of terms and historians that you can go find. You just have to know them.
Right.
And people like what you've done this whole show, just rattle them off the top of your head. I'm just like, who are these people?
Right. But see, this is my problem, and I'm glad you brought up the word historian. That's what the commentators are there for. The commentators are the historians. And the thing about it is that I go back and forth with these girls. The reason why people like Cameo, I love Cameo, but I believe Cameo gave me flowers because Cameo has seen me go live, talk about things, and like that bitch knows. That bitch knows. That bitch is not giving you history based off of YouTube and based off of shows. That bitch knows.
But how are you supposed to know? Like, how do someone who came into Ballroom 2 years ago, how are they supposed to catch up to what you have in your brain?
It's not about it. How you catch up is by being around the right people that know their history.
Yeah.
Like Caesar. Caesar is a historian because he has been there to record the moments. Shout out to Misha, the legendary icon.
My queen mother.
Mika Prodigy. You know what I'm saying? Mika, you sit down. See, what these girls don't do here in Denver, they don't sit down with somebody like London and actually ask London to tell stories about hot battles or, I always tell people, like when I do the OTAs and the girls are talking about they need breathers, I tell the girls, no, I was there the night when Deshaun battled like 7 St. Clairs. Back in the day, you didn't have no breathers. You battled the girls back to back to back to back.
So it's storytelling.
It
has to be.
It's storytelling.
You have to be around the people who have the knowledge, and they have to pour it into you.
Right.
One of my favorite moments in Ballroom didn't happen on the floor. It was the night before my first Alpha Omega ball. I was still a Mugler, and we were stoning my outfit that night. And Cameo was teaching me how to stone. I've never stoned before. And him and 2 of my house brothers were at Cameo's place, and we were just watching old clips.
See, that's the thing. That's what we used to do.
Yeah.
The girls don't do that. We used to watch. So back in my day, I come from the 2000 era. We used to have a VHS tape
Yeah.
of like legendary moments,
Yeah.
and the girls actually used to pass that on to each other. And
And
that's how we got ready for balls. We would have ballroom DVDs and like, oh girl, let's play the Super Bowl on Sunday. Let's play the GLOV. That's gorgeous. That's gorgeous. That's what is it? GLOV said, girls, gorgeous girls, a legendary vogue. I forget what GLOV be. It's been so long. But we used to sit and watch like awards ball, latex ball, and stuff like that. And the reason why I like those moments because nowadays it's hard to find a girl that you want to emulate yourself to be like. Like I remember when the girls started this lie up that I said that I was going to be the next Selvin. I never said that. I stated when I was younger, they said I looked like him because Selvin was plump and round and stuff like that. But I always emulated myself to be like Kool-Aid because Kool-Aid used to walk Butch Queen up in drag's realness. Kool-Aid was all around Butch Queen. Kool-Aid walked old way. Kool-Aid would play with runway and stuff like that. What I don't like about our day and age, there's not a lot of girls that the girls can try to emulate.
Is it because it's too big?
No, it's not that it's not I wouldn't say that it's too big. I think that the politics take away from the moment. Like when I teach our face girls how to walk face, I always tell them to watch Giselle.
Right.
When one thing that we used to do, we used to use Vanessa.
Yeah.
We used to use Vanessa as the girl to walk like if you're walking sex. We used to tell the girls to use Vanessa. A lot of the girls, I will say a lot of the Vogan girls, they do have Laomi. They do. I will say that there's more girls that the girls can emulate for Vogue versus those other categories.
Yeah.
Because your category, I came from the era, body. Oh my gosh, Buddha Balenciaga. Oh my gosh, I can't even think about Andre Prodigy. Oh Jesus, Sex Siren. Who were the Sex Siren boys from back in your day? Trey Sean Khan. Like I know people, but we don't have enough things. Like I just feel like this. If you don't know your history, don't question somebody else's. And my issue that I had with these girls, I had an icon in front of a room of people. You were there because that's when you had one Sex Siren or body when you had the Trinidadian makeup on when you had the Trinidad and you heard Alvernian say, "Do y'all know this young man? I've known him since he was a boy." And even with these girls, they feel like because they're more known in Denver that that's supposed to take away where I'm known from outside of Denver. The Denver ballroom community started very, very late. It doesn't go as far back as Boston or New York or Atlanta or even the West Coast. So yeah, but all right. This is the last question. Is ballroom still a safe space for everybody? I'm going to answer that first. I don't think that it ever really was.
Oh.
I don't think that it was in terms of what we hear that's going on now in terms of like sexual assault, predatorial behavior. I don't think it ever was a safe space for that.
Oh wow.
Not for that. Not for that. When I think of ballroom being a safe space for me, it was a safe space for me that if I couldn't be myself at home, I can go and put my wig on around my girlfriends, or I could dress up in drag at a ball and walk Butch Queen up in drags. Or if I was transitioning, I would get celebrated as being a femme queen and stuff like that. I don't think that ballroom is a safe space anymore. I really don't. And I think that's because of the politics. I don't think that, I think, especially now, and we could talk about this with GNC. With GNC, I'm going to be real with y'all. I feel like the GNCs are the most unsafest people in ballroom. And
Is
I
it because it's newer and least known, so people make more mistakes, but also don't know how to correctly
I
operate?
think that GNC has always been around, but we never had a title for it.
Yeah.
When we thought of GNC, it was more non-binary and more androgyny.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think it is. I think the labels is what fucked it up.
Mm-hmm.
GNC is something that I struggle with a lot
Mm-hmm.
because for me, and for those who don't know, GNC means gender non-conforming.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I don't think it's a safe space for the GNC people is because they don't know. Like Ben is GNC, but I told Ben identifies as GNC, but I told Ben in ballroom you need to walk trans men categories. You need to walk uh male figure.
Yeah, I think ballroom as a whole forces people into categories that they
Mm-hmm.
don't necessarily agree with, and or feel connected to, but they do it in order to win, in order
Yes.
to fit in, etc. Yeah, I think when I first started, we I didn't know anything about the categories, and we said that I was going to walk sex siren junior.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought I had to be more masculine to
Mm-hmm.
fit into that
Yep.
category.
Yep.
Um, and it wasn't until later that I learned about Catboy
Yes.
and learned that, oh, wait a minute, there's a category that I could do both. I can be
Right.
fluid in that. And that's when I merged into that. But for a while I thought, and that was really hard for me coming in, by the way, to hear that it was my that first practice, to hear that
Which was so fucking ignorant because we remember that practice. It was given, oh, you're feminine,
you're too
you're
feminine.
too feminine, and that's why, and that's why I said what I said because it's just like, why isn't it a safe space for femininity to be sexy coming from a man?
Right. But even like think now, the fact that I have to like these juniors, right? They're all gay men, but you can't be too feminine when you walk in Sex Siren Junior.
Right.
It's not a safe space. You have to be a cat boy. So yeah,
And then
I think the answer is yes and no. I think
mm-hmm.
no to those things that we just talked about, but yes, when I go into a ballroom, specifically like the bigger ones in New York, when I walk into a ball, I feel so naturally at home.
Yes, yes, I agree.
I feel like I can be my most authentic self. I don't have to worry about not being black enough or too black. I don't have to worry about being too queer. I can be completely myself and be just fine. And so for that, I would say yes. It's safe for that purposes. And then for the other things you talked about, I would say no. I have heard of a lot of the sexual assault allegations that occur inside of ballroom. I've experienced some of it myself walking sex siren. Some people don't understand that just because I'm naked and I
Doesn't
walk
mean
this
I want to.
category
Right, right.
doesn't mean you can put your hands on me without
Absolutely.
consent. But for those purposes, yes, I don't think it is. But for the others, I think it is.
I do agree with you. I do think it is safe. But see, this is the thing. And the thing about it is, you have walked, which has been so great, is that I always love to hear your experience out of our city because I feel like our city has a lot of work to do.
Mhm.
I think that our OTAs create a safe space for people to come in and feel like, oh, I feel like I'm at the OTAs in New York and stuff like that. That's why I love what Juicy does because you know we try to emulate the foundation. And what I would say is that um I just I I do feel like out of town it is a safe space to feel like you could come as you are and you're gonna be accepted. But here I feel like that's not the case.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I agree. All right, so this is where we get to the end and You can ask me a question, and I'll ask you a question that's not on the
There.
docket.
What is your favorite ballroom moment? Kind of answered mine earlier.
For me personally, or like that I've been in, or
Yeah.
just my favorite ballroom moment that I've been in.
Or watched.
Favorite? Oh, damn, favorite that I've watched.
Or been in, either or.
Hmm. Damn. I've watched a lot of moments. Oh, favorite? I don't know if I have any favorite moments that I've watched.
Or been in. Remember sitting there. Or I told you my favorite moment was that night before with Cameo and my house brothers. So it doesn't have to be something in on the floor.
I would say that my favorite moment thus far was when we debuted Juicy at the Artist Hack Ball. Not the Artist Hack Ball.
No, it was
the
Mother.
The Met Gala Ball. The night we did it at the Met Gala Ball. The one that Unique had.
Oh, I wasn't there.
You was there.
I was late.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about that ball as a whole.
That ball was fast.
And the reason why it was one of my favorite moments is because half of the room did not fuck with us.
Yeah.
Half of the room did not fuck with us. We got the most trophies. Our table was the most
We
fab.
did.
We got the most trophies. Our table was the most fab. I feel like that was the moment where we let the girls know we are not here to play.
We had a good moment. That was a good moment.
I think it was my favorite moment because we represented so much greatness and there was so much bitterness within that room.
And we were still going up for everybody.
Going up for everybody.
For everybody.
So I would say that would probably be my
favorite moment.
My favorite moment. You said yours was with Cameo, right?
Yeah, it was that night before.
Okay. A question that I have. Name somebody in Ballroom that you just don't see it for.
Stop.
I'm just listen. I'm gonna be real. I hate to do that because I want y'all to know something. He is shady, but he's a fire sign, so he keeps his shade on simmer. I'm a water sign. I like to get right into the tsunami, into the pool of it all. Tidal wave. I want to know who in Ballroom do you not see it for?
Stop. You trying to make me get.
Well, I don't know if I'm not saying it because I may think it's a certain person, but like who don't you see it for? As it could be a father, a daughter. But no, listen. I want to be very clear because I know the girls is gonna think that I'm throwing shade. I'm not throwing shade. But these questions, this is the last question. Like, who don't you see it for? And it's no shade.
Stop. I'm not gonna dive into the shade. I will tell you, unfortunately, it's been a minute since I've seen it for any sex siren in Denver.
Okay.
That
works.
There have been the
I think that's a fair way to answer it.
Yeah, I won't say pioneer. There's been there's been like a core set of sex sirens that has came before me and during my time, and those have been good, resurging here and there. The new one, I just haven't seen it for any new sex sirens since.
Okay.
Since.
I will answer the question.
Yeah.
I won't say who because
Mm.
I'll keep it respectful.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a few femme queens that I don't think should be walking realness. There are a few femme queens, and I won't just say walking realness. There are a few. You know what? Let me circle it back. There are a few girls that I don't think should be walking face. And the reason why I feel like these girls should not walk face is because if you are emulating a woman, you should not have stubble on your face. And that's one of the biggest things. There's a femme queen in our city, and she has been celebrated for face, and I don't see it. I think that the teeth are never white. I feel like there's always a stubble, and I feel like when it comes to face, you should give me fresh off the runway. You should give me Neutrogena. You should give me proactive. I feel like you need to look like a Ford model. You need to look like a doll. And this has nothing to do with the structure and stuff like that. I feel like there's a lot of girls that should not walk face. And there's about two of the girls that I feel like they shouldn't walk face because I feel like just because you have clear skin does not mean you have face. I think just because you have a Kodak smile, that doesn't mean it's a Crest or Colgate smile. So there are a few femme queens in our city that I do not think have face, and I do not think that they're real.
Okay. I think there's more than the femme queen. I think there's a lot of people in our city that walk face that shouldn't be walking face. I just want to circle back with my comment about sex siren. Mine is specific to our city as well.
Yes,
In our city, no one has like invoked. Oh my God, this is the next great sex
yep.
siren.
There hasn't been any moments.
Yeah. That now you and I are mentoring one of your gay kids, and I'm excited for him.
Yes,
But he's not. He hasn't debuted fully yet, and been like emerged into it. But yeah, I think he excites me
yeah,
about body more than anything. But I think he has potential
I
as
do
a
too.
sex siren.
I do too. Yes, absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, that was the season finale, and I want to say once again, thank you, Mel, for coming and
Of course.
let the people know where they can find you. I got to get one of the cue cards
Um, uh, on Amazon, you can
on
find.
Amazon.
Sorry, Jesus Christ. On Instagram, you can find me at melanin underscore renaissance. Melanin is spelled with an O and not an A. Um, and I think on Facebook it's the exact same.
Yeah, okay. And you know, guys know where you can find me, Stonewise Maximoff, Stone Maximoff on Instagram. This will be our last episode until um
Season 2.
this is season 2 will come out in the middle of May. I just want to let you guys know the description because I didn't start with it, and then we're gonna wrap it up. The Sword and the Stone is not for everyone. It's for those who question power, challenge narratives, and aren't afraid of uncomfortable truth. Each episode, we pull raw, unfiltered conversations from beneath the surface where egos break, honesty sharpens, and real voices rise. No scripts, no mask, no permission needed. This is a space where opinions are forged, silence is shattered, and truth must be earned. Unfiltered conversations, bold voices, luxury, depth, and authority. If you listened, you already know. Not everyone could pull the sword. And
Okay.
if you're here, you were meant to be here, and my guest was meant to be here. All right, and wrapping it up, you've heard the truth. What you do with it is on you. Until next time, keep your grip firm and blade sharper. But real quick, Mel, oh sorry y'all.
Uh-oh.
What is some things that you would like to see on the next season? Like any people?
People, ooh, I fuck with Tessa
Okay,
heavy. Heavy, heavy, heavy. I would love to hear things that are in their brain.
okay.
Um, as far as topics, I feel like my opinion that you have been real nice to them this season. I feel I want to see the side of Stone that I get behind the scenes.
Okay, okay. Well, one of the topics that we definitely are going to probably have our some past guests back, Reggie and Naima. One of the topics we're going to talk about is family and friends and politics.
Okay.
Because I have a friend. Well, he's not my friend, but he is very big MAGA, and he is gay, and that has affected a lot of his friendships. So
That
is
don't
something.
make no sense.
Right. So
I also think that you should invite me back with my boyfriend to talk about polyamory.
well, we can. Well,
Me, you, Stone, and
I'm Stone. You mean Reggie?
Jesus Christ, Reggie
Well, we
and
probably
Keelan.
could get that. Probably going. We could set it up to to record and then just release it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. We're out. Bye.
To the sword and the stone. Cone.